that this is the most fun that I've had on any of the bikes that I've reviewed for this channel. Hey up and welcome back to Apple Yards in Keighley. Fantastic local dealership here in West Yorkshire. Get yourselves down. Now, courtesy of them, today I'm going to be taking out the Suzuki VStrom 800DE. So without further ado, come along for the ride and let's see what all the fuss is about, eh? Right, okay, here we go then. The Suzuki VStrom 800DE. Suzuki's mid-weight adventure bike. Looking resplendent there in grey, black and yellow. I'd want the blue and yellow one like the 1050DE that I tested 2 or 3 weeks back. But even so, first impressions, I might even be tempted to say a better looking bike. And in terms of its the appearance of its dimensions, its physical size, it actually looks to me to be every bit as big as, if not bigger, than the 1050. Interesting. Right, let's climb aboard. And again, with me at 6'1" and a 32 or 33 inch inseam, as with the 1050DE, on the balls of my feet. So a tall bike, I think 855mm this seat height. So let's have the TFT do its bit of theatre. And very similar, if not identical, layout there to the 1050DE, just a slightly smaller TFT. And the one push and release start there, and a quick look at the TFT display. We've got the rev counter there on the left, the digital speed readout there in the centre, and top right we've got the traction control setting. There are 4. We've got the SDMS, which is the throttle setting, of which there are 3. This one's on A, which is the most responsive, and there we have the ABS setting. It is switchable ABS. We've got the fuel gauge below that information, the gear indicator just to the right there, and below you have the odometer and the air and bike temperatures and the voltage readout from the battery. So a comprehensive suite of electronics there via the TFT. Off we go. And once again, thanks to Apple Yards for the loan of this bike, and thanks in particular to Lewis and to Kieran and Mikey and the general manager Kevin. And a lovely note there from what is actually a parallel twin engine, in spite of the fact that this is a V-Strom. So it's not a V-twin like the 1050, it's a parallel twin. Apparently the V stands for versatile. So, nice view from the mirrors, excellent view from the mirrors. Lovely elevated riding position, legs at an acute angle, certainly 45 degrees, and very, very comfortable indeed. First impressions. So, in the first instance, let us talk about the obvious competitors for this motorcycle. Well, off the top of my head, that would be the new Honda Transalp. That's a 750, isn't it? And I think it's just a little bit more powerful than this. There will be the Aprilia Touareg, the Yamaha Tenere 700, just about, although that's got even more off-road focus about it, I would suggest. BMW F850 GS, possibly. But super smooth for a parallel twin, this. I believe Suzuki have incorporated into this engine no less than 2 balancer shafts. It is a 270 degree firing order on this bike, and already a real sense of urgency about this power plant. We'll do the numbers on the walk around as usual, but this is an 83 brake horsepower, liquid cooled, double overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, parallel twin. And plenty of shove. Now, I've been on this bike 5 minutes, and let me tell you, I already feel very much at home on it. Excuse me. I think if it were me, I'd want to opt for the touring screen option. Suzuki do provide a larger screen as an option for this bike. I'm not getting undue buffeting or anything of that nature. But it just seems a little bit out of proportion, that screen. It is adjustable, but not on the fly, because you're going to need your Allen keys to do it. What a cracking bike, and handles really well. I've said previously, bikes that have an elevated riding position, tall bikes like this, when you feel them hold the line in such a planted manner on bends, it feels almost like some sort of magic is going on, some sort of voodoo going on there. It's really counterintuitive to sling this round the bends, but it will do it as if it's on rails. So full marks to Suzuki there for the handling, absolutely spot on. Fully adjustable suspension on this bike, front and rear, which we'll have a look at before too long. And for a bike that clearly has aspirations for a bit of off-roading, probably a more practical proposition than its big sister, the 1050, because of the weight and the curbside weight of this bike, which is the wet weight, 230 kilograms, which is a good 20 kilos less than Big Brother. I've just come up a steep bit of hill there in 4th gear at just over 30 miles an hour indicated, and no protest from the engine whatsoever. I'm loving this. I don't think I've been on a bike for such a short period of time and it felt as if it had been literally tailor-made for me. It's almost like Suzuki have done what Formula 1 car developers do and build the cars around the likes of Lewis Hamilton and all the other top Formula 1 drivers. It's almost as if Suzuki have done that for me. They haven't, I hasten to add. It'd be nice if they would. They haven't. But it's also it's like they've scanned my entire physique and chucked it into a bit of CAD software and come out with this bike. Now what I will do when we get on a faster stretch of road up and around the switchbacks, even top side of the Air Valley, I will remember this time, because I have had endless reminders, to try the quick shifter, because this does have a quick shifter both up and down. so I shall give that a try for you. Yes, and we were talking about the competition, weren't we? Those, certainly 3 of those bikes I mentioned, the Aprilia Touareg, the Yamaha Tenere and the Honda Transalp are a bit cheaper than this bike. And I was talking about this with Lewis, that it was strange to bring this bike in as an obvious competitor to those at a price point of 10,655, I think it is on this, when they're all sub 10. I suspect the BMW F850 GS Adventure, for example, even second hand, is going to be a bit more than that. I don't even know if they still make that, do they? The F850 GS Adventure. Any road up. But those 3 other bikes, oh, and of course not to forget the now Chinese produced reprise of the KTM 790 Adventure, because it was the KTM 790 Adventure, then it was the 890 Adventure, which I had, and then back to the 790 Adventure. So they're the obvious competitors, but certainly the Yamaha, the Aprilia and the Honda come in a few hundred quid less than this. But yeah, so I was discussing that with Lewis, and as he rightly pointed out, the things that come with standard on this, which are not standard on those bikes, would mean that the price point is probably fairly equitably placed, if not even a little bit cheaper. This is a really eager engine. I think Suzuki have got the mapping absolutely bang on with this bike. This is exactly where you want the power on a bike like this. Bags and bags of torque. I think the actual figure is 57 pound-feet of torque at 6,800 RPM. But clearly Suzuki, in the mapping of this engine as against the GSX-8, which I'm hoping to test next week, they've got the sweet spot on the mapping for this bike. We've sacrificed a little bit of top end power for a more real world appropriate mapping for a bike of this nature. Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Oh, and loads of power. No problem getting past there whatsoever. Take it all back, can't complain when you get a very considerate driver like that. And we'll hang a left here for a change, because there's some nice swoopy bends coming up, and we'll just see what the handling's like. A bit of a difficult junction, this adverse camber on an incline, and of course this being a very tall bike, just have to be a little bit careful. Oh yeah, plenty of power, plenty of power. It's not quite as blistering as the 1050, but it's more than enough for me. You get to a certain time of life, and I know a lot of my viewers, God bless you, are a similar age to me. I just turned 60 last year, and still enjoy the thrill of speed, but it becomes less and less at the apex of your riding requirements as you get on. Last week this channel hit the 3,000 subscriber mark, another milestone for me, So let me take this opportunity to thank each and every one of my viewers and subscribers for helping to make that happen, and of course to thank those wonderful people at Apple Yards for playing no small part in that process of late. Try the quick shifter, absolutely seamless. Yeah, quick shifter's absolutely sublime. Try it down the gears. Yeah. And up. Yeah. Yeah, if you like your quick shifters, there's nothing not to like on this bike at all. Seamless. Let's just do a bit of a beauty pass before we get into the numbers. There we go. And right in the distance there is the town that she's just come from. Okay, let's talk numbers and specifications then. So, we will start with the suspension, and at the front we have Showa upside down forks. They are fully adjustable for preload, damping and rebound. And 220 millimeters of travel at the front there. And there we see the twin discs, which are 320 millimeters at the front, and Nissan twin piston calipers. ABS, of course, you can see the ABS ring there. And those very fetching front colour coordinated fork protectors. Front wheel is 21 inches. Spoked, they are tubed tyres. And I have to say I'm quite used to tube tyres. It doesn't cause me a great problem. Although I fully appreciate there's an issue around peace of mind when you're out on the road. Because by and large it's not practical to fix a puncture in a tubed tyre. Unless you've got the wherewithal to take the wheel off and get your tyre levers out and what have you. And the tyres on this are Dunlop Trailmax Mix Tour, and for a tyre called Mix Tour, one assumes that they are biased for both road and off-road suitability. We have a plastic bash plate. I think that would have to become a metal one for me. And we'll do the back wheel before we do the engine. And as you can see there, a double-sided swing arm. The rear suspension is a piggybacked single suspension unit there, again fully adjustable for preload, damping and rebound. And the back wheel is 17 inches, again spoked and tubed, sporting those Dunlop Trailmax Mixter tyres. And at the rear a 260mm single disc with a Nissan single pot caliper. A Mahusiv OEM exhaust there. I'm sure aftermarket options are available, but that will be your OEM Euro compliant piece of kit. And at the beating heart of this fantastic motorcycle sits there the 776cc double overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, parallel twin engine, liquid cooled, And the engine puts out 83.1 brake horsepower at 8,500 RPM and 57.5 pounds-feet of torque at 6,800 RPM. And so coming up to the top of the bike, let's talk about the fuel capacity. That tank holds 20 litres. And Suzuki claim 64 miles per gallon and theoretically a 260 mile range. Good luck with that. I think probably the range is realistically about 180 miles off a tank of fuel there, depending on how you ride, of course. And taking a look at the switchgear, right hand side, standard starter and kill switch and the hazard warning switch. And there we have the brake lever, which is adjustable for span. On the left hand side we can see again there the clutch lever, not adjustable for span, and it's a cable operated clutch. Switchgear wise, you have the horn, above which your indicators, and then in the middle there the menu selection button, through which you can select your throttle response, 3 settings, your traction control, 4 settings, and your ABS. And at the front there, the main beam and pass. The TFT we've been through, and other than that, a cracking bike. No centre stand as standard. I don't know if an aftermarket one is available, so that might be an issue when it comes to chain maintenance. Probably have to get yourself an ABBA stand, or if you've got a decent long driveway like I have, do it the old-fashioned way. Okay, so the seat height on this bike is 855mm, a tall bike, so let's see what I look like sat upon this steed. Right then, so as I said earlier, I'm 6'1", about 85 kilos, and a 32 going on 33 inseam inches, that is. And as you can see, the legs are at a fairly acute angle there. Nice wide bars. I like wide bars on a bike. Comes as standard with these handguards, look fairly purposeful. But as I said, the screen is it's certainly not adjustable on the fly. You need an Allen key to be able to alter that. But I would go for a bigger screen. So yeah, 85mm seat height, and as you can see, I'm on the balls of my feet, but absolutely planted there, no issues. Yeah, I have to say, this bike, it fits me like a glove. Very, very impressed indeed. Yes. I could live with this all day long. This is Appleyard's demonstrator. Get yourself down to Appleyard's in Keighley and ride this bike, because if you're looking for a mid-weight adventure bike, and I think that's where the sweet spot is for adventure bikes now, then this is a really, really strong contender. Right then, reluctantly, oh so reluctantly, I have to take this bike back down there somewhere to Appleyard's. But what a beauty. All I'd want is some hard luggage, a metal bash plate instead of that plastic one, and some engine guards, stroke body guards, some crash bars, and a bigger screen at the front, and some spotlights, and I'd be a very, very happy boy indeed. Now, one thing I'm going to say here, and I don't normally get into these often contested issues when I'm doing a review, but I'm sure you're all going to agree with me that a council can resurface a road, which is fine, well and good, but then leave it in this condition, regardless of a couple of signs saying skid risk that you don't see until you're on it, is absolutely criminally irresponsible. Roads like this are lethal for motorcyclists, and I can see no reason whatsoever why this amount of loose residual chippings can't be dealt with. But for some reason Bradford Council obviously don't think that motorcyclists' well-being is a primary consideration. Of course, nobody rides motorcycles, do they? People only drive cars. Utterly irresponsible. Sorry about that rant, but it had to be done. So I'm just going to tell you, because I'm filming this on a Wednesday, it's going to go out the following Thursday morning, so it's still going to be like that, isn't it? So a warning, fellow motorcyclists, if you are riding from Street Lane at East Morton over the tops here towards Silsden, you'll know the road I mean. Please be very, very careful, because they've done these repairs in patches, so you might think once you've endured a stretch of the treacherously loose road chippings that the danger is over and done with. Well, it ain't, because here it is again, and it's been done in patches. And like there, right on a bend. There's absolutely no excuse for this. And then none, and then back again, another little patch. And then back to normal. Honestly. So I'm going to happily go on record at this point and say that this is the most fun that I've had on any of the bikes that I've reviewed for this channel. So it only remains for me once again to thank Appleyards of Keighley for the loan of this fantastic bike, which I absolutely do not want to take back, and I could quite easily now, were I allowed, and I'm not, ride this bike in perfect comfort and enjoyment all the way to Whitby on the northeast coast. It's a cracker. So get yourself down to Appleyards and you can test ride this bike. It is a demonstrator, and you won't be disappointed if you're in the market for a mid-range adventure bike. You've got to give this a try. Alright, so until the next time, ride safe, be kind to each other, and I'll catch you on the next one. Toodle pip.